every Tuesday and Thursday here, and stltoday.com. Tony, are you there?
Morning, McGraw. Good morning, Kelly.
Hi, Tony.
We are here patiently waiting your brilliant opinions here each and every Tuesday and Thursday. And
That is what I'm here for.
yes. By the way, did I note that your newspaper is finally charging people to go and read your column as well as other stories in the paper?
Yes, we are.
Finally.
Yes, we are.
Holy mackerel. It's about time. Tell your bosses congratulations. It's about time.
I will tell them. I'm not sure everybody agrees with that, but I will tell them that it's an interesting thing. It's a thing the newspaper industry has struggled with since Al Gore invented the internet, and this seems to be the trend.
Well, you used to make me buy a subscription to my front door, and then if I wanted to buy it in the store, you charged me as well. I don't know why you wouldn't charge me when you sent it to my phone, but that's a whole other issue. I loved your column on Eric Greitens and the Satanic Temple, but I'm shocked you didn't bring up the fact that he's touting aluminum smelter jobs coming back to Missouri.
Well, the thing about touting aluminum smelter jobs is he's claiming that he brought those jobs, and remember, the legislature had a special session. Those jobs have nothing to do with the incentives that were passed in the special session. Totally unrelated. It's just another typical sort of Eric Greitens, look at what I have in my shiny object in the left hand, but don't pay attention to what's in the right hand.
Your column about the Satanic Temple basically points out an interesting point in that the people who are suing him from the Satanic Temple in some ways are more ethical than Eric Greitens.
Well, you know what's interesting? I interviewed the founder of that. I'll call it an organization. They consider themselves a religion. Some people would disagree. It's important for your listeners who are hearing this the first time. This is not an organization that worships Satan. This is an organization that I think named themselves ironically. They are mostly secularist, non-religious people who believe in individual reason. They're sort of libertarian. But what's interesting is I interviewed Lucian Greaves, the spokesperson for the Satanic Temple, and the reason that I wrote the column is that Governor Greitens placed radio ads across the state saying, even Satan is out to get me, referring to this lawsuit that this organization has filed over abortion legislation, saying that it's unconstitutional to require women to have to read information that says that life begins at conception. They don't agree with that. But the interesting thing is I said to him, what do you think about what's going on with the governor? And he said, it would be one thing if he was just having multiple sexual partners. We don't necessarily oppose that. We're in favor of individualism. But that individualism protects people against a photo of them being taken naked without their consent. We wouldn't approve of that. That would violate our moral code. And I just found that awfully ironic that the Satanic Temple appears to have a higher moral code than Governor Greitens.
I do also find it interesting in terms of all this privacy conversation over the last couple of weeks with Facebook and everything, that Josh Hawley is opening up an investigation to find out if a public picture that I posted on Facebook, if my privacy is being infringed upon, and yet the governor's lawyers are trying to make sure that a private picture doesn't have any privacy attached to that.
It will be awfully interesting to see if Attorney General Hawley investigates Facebook with the same lack of intensity that he investigated the governor over his use of Confide, potentially violating Missouri laws over open records and records retention. Your listeners will recall that investigation was a sham, that the governor said, I've got executive privilege, a non-existent legal theory in the state of Missouri. And Josh Hawley washed his hands of it and said, nothing I could do here, nothing to see. It will be interesting if he treats Facebook with the same sort of kid gloves, or if he treats it a little bit more seriously.
What are you hearing in terms of this timeline? How long is this state going to be held in limbo while all these investigations keep on going on?
Well, a lot of that's up to the governor. The House has a deadline for its investigative committee. They will be issuing a report of some sort in the next couple of weeks. That will be interesting. That will be a public report, and we will find out what has been going on behind closed doors as State Rep Jay Barnes and his committee have been interviewing witnesses involved in the, alleged crime that the governor committed in St. Louis. Then we've got the trial itself scheduled for May. Presuming that goes forward, there will be another opportunity for some more news. I don't know what the House will do after the report is issued. A lot of it depends on those details. But I think the trial is really the key. If there is a conviction and the governor doesn't resign, then I think an impeachment will most likely follow. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Still no word on that photo, though. Still, right? No real evidence that they have that photo yet.
As far as I know, correct.
Yeah. Tony, STLtoday.com and Tuesdays and Thursdays with us. Tony, have a good day. Thanks.